Hello and welcome. So in this video, I want to show you how you can create HOI4 portraits using AI. So I built workflows in ComfyUI and I trained a LoRA to specifically learn the HOI4 portrait style. So we are using FLUX.2 Klein 9b model. It is fast and does not require much computing power or VRAM. So as you can see, they are pretty good. So the first one is the source one. So you can import any source and it will automatically crop it and apply restoration and then turn into HOI4 style. And this is how it looks like. So here you import the source and then here it does the restoration and here it applies the LoRA. And here it resizes and then gives you the final results. Then there is text-to-image workflow, where you don't have an input portrait. So you just type in a prompt, so you can create anything you want. So for example, here I created a Soviet soldier with the head of a brown bear, for example. So you can do pretty much anything. And so there's this batch workflow as well. So if you want multiple source images to be processed in HOI4 style, then you can do that as well. So you don't have to do everything individually. You can just put everything into one folder and it will process every image in that folder. So there is this processing only one as well. So if you just want to process it and don't want to turn it HOI4 style, maybe you want to paint it yourself, for example. So, and when it comes to prompting, just the trigger word is HOI4 portrait style, and this prompt is enough for it to retain the identity of the person. So FLUX.2 Klein 9b is good with image-to-image workflows, so you can preserve the identity of the source image. So yes, you only need 16 VRAM at most and 30 gigabytes of storage. So you can use the full distilled model. You don't use the base model of the FLUX.2 Klein 9b. I trained the LoRA on the base model and you use the distilled version to apply the LoRA. You can use the full distilled model, but it doesn't really make much difference. You can use the FP8 model as well. So it is a lighter model and doesn't require as much power and VRAM. And the quality it outputs is basically the same as the BF16 or the full distilled ones. And if you want to further compress the model, then you can use GGUFs. These are also options if you have a low VRAM. They are good. They don't really affect quality that much. So you can still work with them if you need to. So let's not waste any more time and let's get right into it. So how do we set up this workflow? So this is very easy to set up. I have made it really easy for you. So firstly, you want to agree to the Hugging Face agreement of the Klein 9b model. So if you're using the full model, then accept the agreement of this model. If you're using the FP8 model, then agree to this. So once you have done that, you can choose where you want to run the work. You can run it either locally or in the ComfyUI cloud, or you can run in RunPod. All right. So obviously, if you have the resources to run it locally, then you should run locally. But if you don't have enough VRAM, then the other two options are RunPod or ComfyUI Cloud. So if you're running locally, then it's really easy. You just have to download the exe file and run it, and then follow the instructions, and it will install everything you need, including ComfyUI if you don't have ComfyUI installed. And it will detect what you need, and it will automatically download all the models in the correct folders, so you don't have to do anything. So it will all work out of the box. And if you're using RunPod, then it's even easier. All you have to do is copy this command and replace the Hugging Face token with a read-only token that you can create really easily. And once you have replaced this placeholder here, you can just copy that and run it in the pod's Jupyter terminal. It will take you 5 minutes at most. First, I'm going to choose a pod. So we can choose the 4000 ADA. I'm going to change the template to CUDA 12.8. And we choose a volume disk. And we deploy on demand. And it shouldn't take long for it to initialize. You can use persistent storage, but I don't recommend it because it takes only a few minutes to get everything you need. So it's easier to just use a temporary volume and get everything you need done in one go and waste less money. So if you're using RunPod, then I recommend that you use my referral link in the description so that when you add $10 of funds, then I get $5. I would really appreciate that. So now that Jupyter Lab is running, we can open it and we open the terminal and we paste this command. So I'm not going to show you that because it has my Hugging Face token. So I'm just going to paste it. Now it should start installing everything we need. Should take like 1.5 minutes at most. Come back to when it is done. It took 2 minutes and 22 seconds, so longer than expected. Now we can run ComfyUI. Let's refresh it first. ComfyUI is running now. Let's open it. And let's go to workflows. And here we can see the workflows that got installed. I'm going to choose the source one. And I'm going to do one test run. And everything loads successfully. So if you get red nodes or something, then you can restart ComfyUI and come back and everything should be resolved. So first generation always takes longer. So of course, if you chose a more powerful GPU, it will be much faster. So we got our first processed results. So as you can see, it nicely cropped this portrait. So now it is in the restoration part of the workflow. So the restoration finished. As you can see, it restored the portrait nicely. So now it has moved on to the Hearts of Iron 4 style application process. So it will create 3 candidates and you can choose which one you like. So we've got 3 portraits. They were also saved as PNG at game size. So it took us less than 5 minutes to set it all up and run it successfully. So these portraits will be saved into this HOI4 portrait RunPod, and you can see them in output. So if you want to see the full size resolution ones, you can do that. So here's one portrait. So let's try now the batch workflow. So here you can choose an input folder. These source portraits I want to turn into Hearts of Iron 4 style. These are scientists. So we want to choose the background, the science background, and make sure we check that so it will replace the background. And here we can choose what the output folder name will be. So I can just type in scientists. And now we can go back to Jupyter Lab and go to input folder, and we can delete these example ones. And then we can just drag and drop all of these portraits into the input folder. And once they are imported, we can run the workflow and it will process every single one of them individually, turning them into Hearts of Iron 4 style and save them. So you can choose how many candidates get saved. The default is 1. So it seems that every portrait has been imported, I believe. So now we can Simply run this, and I'll come back to you when it is finished. So it's going to take quite a long time because it has to restore every single portrait as well. So here you can see all the portraits that will be processed. So it cropped them nicely, as you can see. So now these will be all restored. And I'll come back to you when it has restored all of them. So it finally finished. We got our final outputs, and now we go back to Jupyter Lab, and we can find the batch output in the folder that we specified, so scientists. And here we can see all the portraits that it generated. So all I need really is the DDS files for my mod, and I can simply then download them. So how this one works is that it will generate a portrait just from the prompt. So right here, for example, I'm asking for a Soviet soldier with a head of a bear. So it can also handle non-human subjects. So it created the bear here, and so that's the text to image one. So once you have downloaded everything you need, you can stop the pod and simply terminate it, and that's it. So now you know how to create H-O I4 portraits using AI. So I hope you will find this useful. So if you've got any questions, feel free to ask them in my Discord server. I'll be happy to help you. And all of this is free for you to use. And if you want to support me, I have left a donation link in the description. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.